Catholic Senator Joe Manchin should be put on a non-stop flight to hell. Senator Joe Manchin had a fun week laughing at a Washington, D.C. party earlier this week about how everyone hates him. Gee, I wonder why. He's against everything his party wants. After acknowledging that he is asked constantly why he doesn't switch parties when he is very clearly not a Democrat, and even that his life would be much easier as a Republican, he claimed, "I don't think the Republicans would be any happier with me than the Democrats are right now. I don't know where in the hell I belong," Manchin added, laughing out loud. I don't know where I belong. I'm just taking away two-thirds of the changes that the Democrats want to make because I think it's the appropriate thing to do. All the other hundreds of senators and representatives, they don't count, only him. What's especially sad about Manchin is that he's an abject failure in all the ways that would be meaningful to him. Maybe this is why he's getting so much out of ruining not just the Democratic Party, but the lives of the vast majority of middle Americans. Maybe that's why he's so completely unashamed to be a lackey for the worst corporations in America, apparently at the beck and call of their lobbyists on speed dial. It's also a clear indication of the real reason he's doing what he's doing. Why is a coal baron legally allowed to weigh in on climate policy? You're going to say, wait a minute, Juan Andres, why are you calling this distinguished senator a coal baron? Wait till I tell you. Wait till I share with you. You're going to agree with that title of coal baron. Manchin has received more in political donations from the oil and gas industry than any other senator in the United States. Ding! Does that tell you something? More than double the second largest recipient. He's also the number one beneficiary of donations from the coal mining sector that leads the way in money accepted from gas pipeline operators. This gives you an idea of why he did not want any part of the climate initiative in President Biden's $3.5 billion infrastructure bill to survive. This nonsense that he wants to make sure that we're fiscally responsible is hypocrisy. He is being paid by the coal barons to sink it, even if it means more climate change problems, more fires, more problems with overflooding. It doesn't make any difference as long as I get the money. And you're going to say, that's an exaggeration. No, it isn't. Also, why is someone with a daughter, listen to me, who conspired to monopolize and raise the price of the EpiPens while funneling money to Joe Manchin from the EpiPen empire, her father's political campaign, allowed to be anywhere near discussions on healthcare or public health? Yes, remember EpiPens? Everyone was furious because it was the only thing that could get you out of shock if you went into very serious allergic reactions. And they had raised the price to the point that average Americans couldn't afford to buy it anymore. They were going to die. They didn't care. This is Joe Manchin's daughter And what does her father do? Isn't there some similarity with the way she handled the choices she made with the EpiPen and the way he's handling the infrastructure bill? Ding, ding, ding. Maybe? Think about it. EpiPen is used in emergencies to treat very serious allergic reactions to insect stings, bites, foods, drugs, or other substances. And this is what happened with the EpiPen. EpiPen in 2007, under the executive, who is Joe Manchin's daughter, the company had implemented a series of gradual price increases. Are you ready for this? Inflating the price of the drug from $56.64 to $317.82 for one. A 461% increase in cost. Now, how many people can afford that? During that same time, Joe Manchin's daughter was the person who personally made this happen. She had all the intention of making this happen, just like her father had all the intentions of destroying the infrastructure bill. So he could get what he wanted. His daughter went from being the company's chief operating officer to president. And then she got another promotion to chief executive. And you ready for this? And she saw her pay rise from $2,453,456, which is a chunk of change, to $18,931,068, a 671% increase. Makes you think. When you read these things, I do a lot of research. When you dig into these things, it scares the hell out of you. How can anyone be so callous that money is that important? I mean, she was making $2 million. She couldn't spend it in a lifetime. There'd be money there. I mean, you could stick it in an account and you could live off the interest. This is the trap constituents find themselves in with so-called centrists like Joe Manchin and his fashion nightmare counterpart, Christian Sinema, who we still don't know why she's so united with Joe Manchin. You know, there's an old saying, still water runs deep. This woman's quiet. I'm sure there are deep reasons why she's connected to Joe, and eventually it'll come out. Right now, we don't have enough information to be able to share with you, but it's very suspicious. There's no conversation to be had with people who have no actual values beyond hoarding wealth and power for themselves. You see, being a centrist in politics is not the same as being an independent voter. An independent voter means that you decide which party is offering the best in your opinion and you vote accordingly. A centrist is looking for opportunities. He doesn't want to belong to anywhere. He wants to be able to jump back and forth, to be able to turn around and take advantage of opportunities when they rise. Manchin's little comedy routine at the Washington, D.C. party occurred a few days before he made sure paid leave for all Americans would not be part of the $3.5 billion, now $1.7 billion infrastructure bill. His excuse is being concerned about the Social Security Trust Fund. That's a joke. The trust funds are not expected to be depleted for another 13 years. Meanwhile, we're experiencing right now a massive public health and labor crisis. Right this minute, millions of women have left the workforce since the start of the pandemic, and that's not even taking into account the women who left their job before the pandemic because of an economic system openly hostile to new parents, especially those who have recently given birth. Also, the money for Social Security benefits comes largely from payroll taxes. So it's pretty obvious that keeping parents in the workforce helps them pay their share of Social Security. So why would you do this? It's counterproductive. It takes away the opportunity of shoring the Social Security. There's more behind that decision. These are just excuses that he's using to get what he wants for those people that he represents, corporate America, that own him. And being paid a decent wage is also important, which can subsequently be taxed. And it's a goal completely aligned with maintaining Social Security funding. So this cock and bull story, it just doesn't hold water. Parents can't stay in the workforce if they don't take time off to care for their children, or they can't have children, which feels like it should be a concern for people who won't stop complaining about the declining U.S. birth among white Americans. That's the big topic now. We're not reproducing like Latinos, Asians, and indigenous people and African Americans. So they're growing at a faster rate, so they're going to take over the country. But look at the laws that you're ignoring. Look at the things that you could do that would shore this up to help you have bigger white families. You think Manchin cares about that? You think Manchin cares about what's going to happen in the next decade to white Americans as they decline? Look, there are parts of the country where 73% of the students coming out of school are minorities. 25% are white. 27% are white. 73% are minorities. This is a serious issue. These people won't raise the minimum wage so that everyone can make enough to support their families, but they're upset that people aren't reproducing, that is, making new families. They don't want anyone to have abortions, but they also want mothers to go back to work sooner than most breeding dogs can legally be separated from their puppies in more than 25 states in the United States. Would you believe that? Dogs, bitches, female dogs have more rights when it comes to that than mothers. That's insane. The purpose of a political party is to amass enough power to pass legislation, particularly legislation on which most of its candidates base their entire campaigns on. Those campaigns are promises, and it should be a given that everyone benefiting from the party's resources and financing can coalesce around the goal of delivering on those promises. The original bill was the Democrats' chance to finally deliver real results to improve the lives of middle-class Americans. You and me, we're not in that upper 1%. We're not even in the upper 10%. And watching it being stripped, due in large part to Joe Manchin and his greed from West Virginia, the coal mining capital of the U.S., and Christian Sinema from Arizona, who won't even deliver for her constituents, the people that voted for them increasingly makes the Democratic majority in Congress seem close to worthless because of these two Democrats, if you could even call them Democrats. This is why the only good thing happening in America today is the massive organized labor movement rippling through various industries and sectors. Yes, because we need that. We need organizations to fight the 10% or the 1%. They have money. If there was some chance the Democratic Party could recognize its job is to effectively fight, much like a labor union, for the rights and well-being of the middle class, then perhaps there would be some reason to hold out hope for politics. But so long as wealthy politicians are so willing and willfully in the pockets of corporations, we vote for them, but they serve the 1%, the mega rich. The only chance we really have is a massive, large-scale, organized labor apparatus in the country that can counterbalance the money and the force of the 1%. Are you listening to me? Join a union. Join a union. If enough of us do that, we will build enough power, people power, to be able to at least confront the kind of money and influence and power that the super mega rich have over our politicians. Because we, through our unions, will be able to sit with these politicians and say, okay, you're getting money from them, but you're a one-term senator. I guarantee you that. That's going to make them listen. You're a one-term senator because we're going to do everything we can to take you down. You're greedy, you're not representing your constituents, and you don't deserve to be in the House of Representatives or the Senate. The only chance we have is organized labor apparatus, unions. Join them. Coal miners in Manchin's home state of West Virginia support, this is going to surprise you, a Green New Deal. They want to get out of the mines. They're sick and tired of getting black lung disease and dying. They want other industries where they can make a living and not put their life in jeopardy. But this Catholic senator would rather live on a houseboat in Washington, D.C. and try desperately to be liked by energy moguls who couldn't give a hoot about him beyond what he can do for them. He truly deserves to answer to St. Peter and be sent to have a talk with Lucifer. It's pathetic that he's able to hold this much power in his hands. He should go to hell. In the meantime, Lucifer should have him start cleaning the solitary confinement cage, which will eventually be filled by a former president of the United States. And you know who that is. I'm Juan Andres. You can always find us on the now over 60 sites where you can hear our programs. Just Google Radio Labio, L-A-B-I-O, and they'll pop up. One of them will pop up and you can choose. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.